Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Interviews. Today, we're breaking down season 2, episode 4 of You and I, Apollo Opposite. I know I didn't do a review last week. I should have, I already had, everything in order. Like, there was the, I had the thumbnail and everything, but I didn't forget. I just, stuff came up. But anyway, let's talk about episode 4. How was it? Was it good? Was it bad? There was no bad. But this episode was another emotional episode because we got to learn more about Taira, and like I said, Taira and Taira and Azuma canonically are like my favorite couple in like the entire show. To be honest, I enjoy their dynamic because unlike the other two relationships, the one we have, where like the wholesome, everything all bubbly. Like I love them. They're all giddy and like they make me feel happy. But like Ted and Azuma's relationship is more grounded, more emotional. Where like you kind of connect to like the characters on a deeper emotional level. Like we have we have Tani and Suzuki. Like I love them, but I'm not really emotionally like that connected to them. Like I know more about them. I enjoy them as characters. They're really fun and lovable characters. But there's a difference because with Azuma and Taira, like there's like this emotional connection because I know we know all their like darkest secrets, the dark past. We see them like grow as actual characters, develop, like actually have fun with the friends they have right now, and move past like their dark past. So like you can have that grounded emotional feeling with them, that lovable feeling that you just have with them. The point where like canonically these are the best romance characters. Oh, and this will come up as like really sad news, but this is the last and final season of You and Polar Opposite because the manga ended with about like 45 chapters or something, but this is considered canonically, the final season. And to be honest, I hate that this was the final season, but it makes sense because you can fix what's not broken. What's not broken because the relationships are already there. We have Tani and Suzuki, which I feel like once Tera, Azuma, and Yamada and Nishi, like get together as like an actual couple, they confess their actual feelings and start dating. That's the end of like the show. Because for us right now, we are getting to know these characters, getting to know them on an emotional level, and then them getting to know each other and then start dating. That's the end of the show. Like like I said, I hate that it ended. It's ended, but like it's, to be honest, if this story kind of dragged out, it would have been a more slice of life type of thing, which I'm not saying I would hate, but like I feel like they'll try to like make conflicts that really wouldn't make sense. So it ended like on a note. It ended like I haven't read the actual manga, so I don't know how it ends, which we'll probably get like in the final episode of this week's episode. Anyway, let's get into the episode. Let's talk about the goods. Let's talk about the bads. They're no bads. They're just goods. Let's get into it. All right, let's get into the episode. The episode. I'm sorry if my voice sounds a bit low. I've been shouting a lot today. Anyway, the beginning of the episode is basically us, getting to understand Ted, Ted more because we know him, but we don't know him. Like anyway, today we just learned about like his daily routine on how like even he goes to the, I think it's the last part of the train. Yeah, he goes to like the farthest platform at like the end of the train for like two main reasons, to be honest. One, so like he doesn't interact with like people from his school, people from his old school. He just doesn't want to interact with like classmates, friends, anything like that. He would like I doubt he would be happy if he wouldn't be sad if like Dani or Yamada came up, but like he sometimes just wants his peace, and also like he picks to the farthest platform. And the second reason is kind of like, since it's the farthest platform, that like a crap ton of seats in like the train itself. So these were like the two main reasons we got, but like I feel like the main reason is insecurities. Like he doesn't want people to like judge him about like what he's doing. Like that scaredness of him makes him like pick the last train, so like he doesn't have to like interact with like people from his school. He's scared that he might meet like people from like his middle school. He's scared like he might meet people from high school with who's people in the same class with him. He's scared like he might meet people like who might judge him. That's basically the main reason he like picks the last train, the end of the rail train. And he also kind of like goes home early, like unless he when he doesn't have work, he just goes home early. Like I feel like he would like love to hang out with the gangs, but that scaredness of him makes him unwilling to like not open up. Like he's open, but like not to the fullest extent. He doesn't he's 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 scared, like he's scared of like what if he does something wrong, they might judge him, which I doubt they would, but like that scaredness of him is making him like go home early. Sometimes pick the latest train, so like he doesn't even have to interact with them unless they meet at school. And to be honest, this part of the episode where like was my favorite part of the episode, because it shows that Suzuki is the anchor that kind of like will bring Tyra to like back, not bring back to his work, but like give him the self confidence. Because no matter how Tyra distances himself from the others, Suzuki is the only person that kind of reaches out and talks to him, that shows him support. Because even before like this whole Tyra that we have in high school, Suzuki was always supportive, always supporting him during like the middle school days. Because if you watched last week's episode, you know that because of what happened with him and the girl, like he kind of changed fashion, started dyeing his hair and whatnot. And Suzuki didn't make fun of him. She was honestly giving him like advice. She told him that how he kind of bleached his hair, but like his eyebrows don't really match his hair and it doesn't really look that good. So like he should like change it up. And now she kind of was complimenting like every little thing about him. I feel like even though Suzuki didn't like love him from even at this point, she wanted to give him encouragement. She wanted to like push him out of it. She wanted to make him feel better about himself, because Tani is a depressing person. Like ironically, he is. He thinks of himself the lowest of the low, which is the same as Suzuki. Suzuki doesn't value herself. Like she lets people walk over her thinking that it's normal. Both of them like they're really compatible, and they like when what's this season one of you and I Polo episode, when what's his middle school friends of Suzuki were talking down on her and walking over her. Taylor, told her that it's not normal. It's she should stand up for herself. She should talk about herself. This is the same thing that Suzuki is doing to Taylor. She kind of brings him. She's trying to bring out his confidence, the confidence that he doesn't really have. He lacks confidence, self-esteem. He lacks everything. He thinks of himself the lowest of the low. And this is why I really do love, Taira and Suzuki's relationship. Like I said, it's a relationship on an emotional level where you like understand both characters, understand that even though they're different, they kind of have like the same past, and like they're working towards a better future. They're working to develop themselves. They're trying to move past like the past selves and look forward to the future. So you like connect them on a deeper emotional level. Well, like I'm not saying I really do love the other romance. Yamada and Nishi, fantastic. It gets me giddy. Like in this episode, like it was freaking amazing. We have Tani and Suzuki, like another like amazing happy like relationship that I really love. But it's a relationship on an emotional level that kind of hits you harder, because you just didn't expect it, and now you kind of like attached to them more than like you thought they would. Because at first, when they were developing Suzuki and with Taira and Suzuki's Azuma, sorry, when they were developing Taira and Azuma's relationship, I really didn't care about it. But like as time passed on, we got to learn more about them, got to connect with them, learned about their past, learning about how like they're moving forward, they're trying to better themselves. You just feel with them. You just want to cheer them on with everything in your being. That's what this is about. This like this whole show has two different types of paths of romance. We have the Tani and Suzuki romance path, the Tani Suzuki, Yamada and Nishi path, where like it's happiness, where we just enjoyed having fun, and then we have the Suzuki entire path where like it's an emotional roller coaster. We won't. I thought we'd get like a tear jerking moment, but like even though we don't get that, you just you just feel emotional while watching them. No, in this episode, I even cried a bit because after the whole train thing, where kind of what's this, Suzuki kind of tells Tada to like actually be confident in himself, because she doesn't want him to like apologize all the time. She wants him to like say thank you, say it's my bad, like just be comfortable around her. And when he was like thinking about everything that happened today, like her coming to him, the whole hell run, well, like it was snowing, the hell was falling down, so like they had to like run to like the train station, everything that happened with her, giving her like this woman pad, a small gesture that meant a lot. Like in this episode, he also kind of understood more about him, about like how he doesn't want to like hurt people, but he puts like unnecessary distance between like him and other people. Like he was realizing that the way he kind of puts himself down, the way he like jumps to like conclusions before anything has really happened, like that's he realized that that's not really a good thing, that he should really be more confident in himself. Like I only became aware of it today, like to him, before this day, before Suzuki even told him about like how he should develop a confidence, he thought that this was a normal reaction. He thought less of himself, like he thought that he was causing problems and everything, but it really was. And then it came this scene where he was just he kind of started crying, like god damn, it hit me really hard. It was like this scene just came out of nowhere, and you just felt it, you just felt how he felt. Like it was just so emotional to me, like even though it wasn't like to many people it might not be as emotional. It would be like, okay, it was sad, but like to me it just gripped my heart. It was just like to a point I just I to be honest, I started crying a bit. It was like, yo, this really is awesome. This made me love Taylor even more than I actually did. Like I thought you can never love a guy like that, but like he's like exception, to be honest. I do value him as a character, to be honest. I really hope to see, I know we'll see more, but like I want to keep seeing more of him. I want to get more Taylor dedicated episodes, because this whole segment of just Taylor himself, like learning, discovering more about himself, was masterfully done, was beautiful, and was emotional at the same time. And at the end of the Taylor episode, he, kind of took the first train, I wouldn't say the first segment, but like the closest train to like, where people normally classmates are, where he kind of even made Suzuki. And then the second part of the episode was another fun episode. Unlike the Taylor episode where it kind of get you emotional, this made me happy. It made me tickle. It made me want to jump for joy. I felt like a kid again. It was a fun episode where we kind of like, we just had Yamada and Nishi, vibing, talking to each other. They didn't talk to each other that much, but like I would say in this part of the episode, we had a lot of like actual character growth, because the one thing that I loved about the Nishi side of the episode is Nishi finally confronting her feelings, because and the only reason she kind of confronted her feelings was, sorry, and we're technically difficulties, but the only reason she kind of figured out like her emotions, her real feelings, like she knew she loved him, but like Handa was the person that gave her the push, like gave her the push to admit that she wants to be Yamada-kun's girlfriend. She wants to be with him. That's amazing. And in this episode, we also kind of learned more about like Handa herself, because like I thought Handa I thought differently of Honda, but like turns out she kind of really hated Nishi, and I'll explain the reason in a few seconds. All right. Anyway, the reason she kind of hated Nishi at the beginning. Sorry. All right. Anyway, the reason she kind of hated Nishi was because of Nishi's personality, without knowing her, but like Nishi is, a quiet type of person, someone a shy, quiet type of person, which for Handa wasn't like a really good experience because people had assumptions of her, like the way she looked, the way when she was, friendly and nice. People had an assumption that she was a perfect girl who like didn't understand them. Like when even when she said like when people with like no confidence, like when people with no confidence, no like we know like who just hate themselves kind of get attached to her, it kind of like it kind of makes you know when someone tells you like that you wouldn't get this because you are this and this, that frustration that you get. And Nishi, like it's really understandable for Nishi because getting people telling you that every time and every day, it kind of gets frustrating to the point where like you're like, god damn, just shut the freak up and leave me alone. That's the thing that Nishi got. Like this, like I guess you wouldn't understand Wicked because not the way Nishi is a beautiful woman, a pretty person. Like the way she looked, people made like stupid assumptions. Like sorry, they made stupid assumptions of her. Like one, they thought she was like popular. One, they thought she had her whole life figured out. Another thing, they thought that she wouldn't get like feeling anxious. Like that's a human emotions. Like someone with low self-esteem, when they like look at someone else, they think that they'll think out. And don't quote me on this, I might be wrong, but like there was, I'm speaking kind of for like personal experience because there was a time and place where I kind of had those self-esteem. But like there was a friend that I had who I would say who was more popular than me. And like there was a time and what I kind of had a girlfriend and we broke up. But like to me, like since I broke up with my girlfriend and like it was really sad, and he was like a popular person out, in my like I made assumptions like there's no way he could like get hurt. I said that I was saying to myself that he wouldn't understand because he probably gets a lot of girls. There's no way he gets rejected and whatnot. So when he was trying to comfort me, like I said some words that were not really that would like I didn't send them in a mean way, but like they weren't really pleasant words. I was like, you wouldn't get this because blah 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 and this and that, which kind of makes the assumption that a person has their whole life figured out. Like when someone doesn't trust or believe in themselves, they kind of make assumptions about other people, and when those assumptions are not validated, you kind of get angry and whatnot. Anyway, Nishi kind of got sick of it because the people who got close to her didn't have had low self-esteem or like had were putting Handa on like a pedestal to the point where like there were like people on top wouldn't really understand this. Like it it got irritated, it got frustrating to the point where like she kind of started closing off people. Like that's where it kind of where Nishin came up to her and asked her for directions. Even though she gave the directions, she didn't care about Nishi. She kind of started pushing Nishi away because she didn't want to like go through that whole experience where Nishi kind of made assumptions of her, and then when those assumptions of her like were proven wrong, and then she kind of has a mental breakdown or a mental crash. She didn't want to deal with that whole nonsense, so she kind of started pushing Nishi away. But like Nishi is, I would say, a different breed of person because no matter how much Handa pushed her, Nishi would always come back stronger, would always talk to her, do everything with her, to the point where like Nishi herself was accepted by Handa instead of the other way around, where she kind of accept. No, sorry, Handa also was accepted by Nishi instead of the other way where Nishi accept Handa, where Handa accepts Nishi. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. So what I'm trying to say is this was a nice, a nice segue episode where we kind of learned about like other characters. We also learned more about Handa. Like Handa was like the wingman of like Nishi, so like we didn't learn more. The only thing we know is that she loved the romance part, but like getting to actually know her backstory and everything was really fun. And it was really nice of Hunter to like actually give Nishi that push that she really needs, because she actually tells her like, wouldn't you regret it if you like what's this Yamada actually got another girl. Like Nishi was like Nishi wanted to be friends, but like she loved Yamada, but like she didn't see herself as, she couldn't see herself as his boyfriend. But Nishi kind of gave her that push, telling her that if you don't step up, someone else will step up. Not now, not today, but maybe in the near future, someone might actually step up. So she was like, even though she said she wants them to take it at their own pace, she kind of gave Nishi that push that she really needs, because I feel like if what's this Handa didn't give that push, I doubt Nishi would actually take that step of herself. She would take it in the near future, but like that's a long way down. So like her doing this was, really good of her. This was a really emotional episode. Both segments, both Taira episode and Handa segments were really emotional. We didn't get a lot of Suzuki and whatnot, but I really don't mind, because if you like developing the actual side characters to the point where like you're emotionally invested in each and of their side stories is amazing. This episode was an amazing episode. I rate it a 9 out of 10 because of how good it is. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe. I'm Hunter, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.